This is the coil. This is the screen unit. Now, when I first started this, when I wanted to make it the way I wanted to, every professional production person told me you can't because you're going to mess up your screen. So you will start to get a lot of buildup in there. If you're properly burning off and you're soaking, it will reduce that. But these will have a life to them.
Right.
These are replaceable as well. I think it's about $60 to replace it. You should be able to get 6 to 8 months out of a screen. But because of our production, we're not going to have the same screen life that a normal one. This is just a trade-off you have with making our product. Also be very careful. There's a lot of wire mesh in here. You will poke yourself countless times. Okay?
Done that before.
Yes. So to put your coil in here, it's basically like threading a nut on a bolt. Just kind of screw it in. You don't want to deform this to get it in there. So that's why we usually do the screwing motion. And then you just want to get a real nice separation. You see that right there? Keep a good amount of space. You want one towards the top, one towards the bottom, and then a nice space in there. Doesn't have to be perfect, but obviously rewind a little bit. So basically what is happening is electric is coming through here. This is a coil just like it would be on your stove. Yep. This heats up. All the sugar's inside of here. So when this starts spinning, its centrifugal forces is forcing that sugar to the coil, which is melting it, and then shooting it through the fine parts of the screen. So obviously, cleaner screen, better product, etc., etc. So keeping that nicely spaced gives it more room for the sugar to get out. It's gonna work no matter what, but it's just overall production.
Yeah.
Also, certain flavors are gonna spin better than others. Certain flavors on certain days. That's where the art of this comes in. What flavor do you hate?
Fireball.
Fireball is the worst flavor to make.
It's the worst.
Although we're
That's
working on it. The last batch,
I know.
I changed up the formula a little bit. The last batch actually turned out real well. But humidity, temperature is going to always, it tends to amplify the harder flavors. Huckleberries is a very difficult flavor as well, believe it or not. I hate to say it, but it is. And that's just because of the richness of the formula. So this is pretty simple. Just goes right back on here. Slide the two over the two posts. It's super simple. Now you're gonna have two screws here. You've got a flat screw and a rounded head screw.
Nylock.
Yeah, so those are your on top of the cone.
Right.
These are gonna be your coil screw. There's only two, so it's pretty easy to figure out which is which. I usually will put this on here and then get them on there pretty good, and then you just basically use the nut driver to get it the rest of the way down. Once again, you don't have to be super, super tight with it, but this one you do want a good firm
Good connection.
because you're dealing with electricity. And then just screw them on down.
Hence another good reason to have a power turn.
Yeah, exactly. And then usually what I'll do, if you want to come a little bit closer, I'll show you. Like anything, if you start twisting it, you'll see that the cord, I usually will hold this so I can get a real good seal on it. If you keep twisting it, it will keep pulling it.
Yeah, it will.
Yeah. Are you ready to do this?
Yeah.
She's not done a teardown yet,
No,
so.
So that's actually a pretty easy tear down.
Yeah, it's
that's
relatively
pretty
easy.
Yeah.
But that's what we're trying to do, is create something that anyone can do.
Yeah.
Your triangle and nylon bolts basically just go on just like that. This one's not as critical on the tightness. You want to get it because you're spinning it. You don't want it flying off, but just kind of get it to where it's pretty snug.
What does the triangle do?
What it's doing is basically keeping the sugar off of the post, the electrical post.
Oh,
Okay?
okay.
An insulator.
Yep. And what it helps to keep the sugar from not building up on the coils. You saw when I took that apart that a lot of the bottom is clean.
Yeah.
A lot of that's because of the triangle, because it helps keep it. Now you're going to get sugar down there, but it tends to flow out. What it's doing is keeping those electrical posts clean so they can make good contact. So, and then you'll see you just want to be seated inside of the outer rim. It's not perfect, it's not a super tight fit, but you just want to make sure you're inside of that. This is the cone. Cone goes right on there. Come on. Yeah, anyone that's done anything mechanical, it's relatively
And
simple.
that's a very, very simple
Yep.
tear down.
So what I do is I do my 2 non-floaters first to get a good seal on it, and then I come and do my floaters afterwards. Once again, this will all be in that documentation. More than anything, I want you to see it. And when you go through the documentation, you'll be like, okay, I saw that.
Yep.
Yep. And then and then these. Now this your larger one that goes on your top 4, the nut driver tends to get pretty dirty. I usually will put that in there with my wash as well. And we're gonna do the wash at the very, very end. So basically you feel it when it gets snug. You're
So
pretty
you don't
good.
have to clean it after every flavor then?
Nope.
You
No.
do a burnout.
You'll do it and she'll go into that.
Okay. So
But
that's a
you-
lot of work.
You can do 300, 400 flavor or tubs before you need to tear the machine down. Now we've gotten a lot better. We actually have an event specialist by the name of Violet that worked with us this year. She actually makes a vast majority of the cotton candy out at Silverwood. So she actually helped us change a lot of our procedures. We weren't doing burn-offs. So she taught us about burn-offs, and that's actually extended the daily run significantly.
Okay.
And the
So-
flavor, like, because we used to have flavors that we couldn't do before others because the flavor would go into the other ones or colors would go into the other
Yeah.
ones. So the burnout has actually, you
Eliminate
don't,
that.
yeah, there's no bleed through.
Okay.
Now you will get some color bleed through, but that goes into how you plan your day out. Try to do bubble gum before strawberry cheesecake, or do your lighter colors first, and she has a much better technique at that.
Okay.
So once you get your leather floaters on there, you want to give it a little bit of twist. What that does is give you a little bit more airflow, which is what you're trying to get to. All right, bowl goes back on. One little thing, it's not gonna be it won't cause you issues, but it will help. You're spinning this way, make sure your overlap is against your flow.
Yep.
So you don't, because if you have it this way,
We'll try and
It'll-
you'll get a
it'll
lot
catch
of
it.
buildup right
yeah,
there, so.
slap it up on you.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're talking to an ex-nuclear trained machine.
It's gonna be easy for him.
Well, this isn't a nuclear warhead, honey.
No,
This is
no, this is more like our oil purifier,
And then these are just lightly on there,
just to hold it in place.
Yep. and now we have a machine.
magic.
Yeah.
So,
Like that again.
usually what I'll do is I'll plug it back in, give it a little spin to make sure everything's together. Nothing's flying off there. But anyone that's, like I said, worked with stuff before. So you're gonna want your temperature, and I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna eventually put notches on here for certain, like notch A, notch B, notch C, because certain flavors do better at certain temperatures.
Oh, okay.
But you don't wanna be all the way up, just over 3/4. So you have 2 powers, motor and heat. One spins it, one warms it
Yeah.
up. We're just gonna give a little spin. And heat is on.
No sparks,
Sparks. Oh, we've had sparks before.
that could happen.
Yep. And you can smell heating up because you can smell it. All right, we're good.